So we're talking about vertex form. It says f of x equals a, parentheses means times, x minus h squared plus k. And it tells us the vertex form is h comma k. And this is how we can very easily find our vertex if the equation is in vertex form. So for example, it says when given h comma k, vertex h is our hypocrite. And we'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's look at number 1. I have f of x equals 5 times x minus 2 squared. Okay. In order to find my vertex, I want to see h comma k. All right, if I look at this equation, h is the last number in the parentheses, and k is added or subtracted outside the parentheses. So h is this 2 right here, but it doesn't give me a k. All right, because it doesn't give me a k, that tells me that k will be 0. So my vertex is 2, comma 0. My axis of symmetry I can pull from my vertex. Remember, axis of symmetry starts with x equals. And it's whatever the x value is. So here it's x equals 2. Then it asks opens. Does it open up like a cup or down like a frown? So because this 5 is positive, I'm looking at the number outside of the parentheses. Since it is positive, this means it opens up. Okay. Everything you do today, you will also check in Desmos. So now that we've done it all by hand in on our notes, let's check it in Desmos. So if I go to Desmos, I'm going to type in that equation. So I have 5 f of x equals 5 times x minus 2 squared. Okay, there's my equation. The first part is it asks for my vertex. I put a point at 2, 0. That's what we said our vertex was at 2, 0. Remember, you can also hit enter and type in ordered pairs, 2, 0, and it will put a point there for you. Then we're going to type in our axis of symmetry. We said it was x equals 2. We should have a line going straight down the middle, just like we do here. Okay, and then the last one just says, does it open up? And it does. Remember, we say that this is opening up like a cup. Okay, so now let's talk about number 2. So it says f of x equals -4 parentheses x plus 8 squared. And remember at the top it says when given h comma k vertex, h is our hypocrite. All right, so think about what a hypocrite means. It means they're kind of like a liar. They're not doing what they say they would do. So remember, if my vertex is h comma k, and this 8 is in the h spot, I don't have anything out here in k, so I'm going to do just like what I did before. I know that k is going to be 0. H is our hypocrite, meaning it's going to do the opposite of what it looks like. So like over here, when I had a -2, my vertex was +2. So right here, my vertex is going to start with a -8 because it's positive and h is a hypocrite. So I have -8, 0. Okay, then I can do my axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry starts with x equals, and it's the x value of your vertex, which is -8. And then because there's a negative sign out front, that means that this is going to open down. Okay, so now let's look at question 3. So on number 3, I have p of x equals -1/2 x minus 1 squared plus 4. All right, the first question is still our vertex. Do h comma k. All right, we look at what's in H's spot and we look at what's in K's spot. And remember that H is our hypocrite. All right, so my vertex, instead of having -1, since H is a hypocrite, it's going to be +1, comma, 4. My axis of symmetry is just x equals what the x value of my vertex is, so 1. And then I look at the front of my equation to see if it opens up or down. So this one has a negative, which tells me it's going to open down. Okay, so the last question we have, g of x equals -1, parentheses x plus 1 squared minus 5. So I want to look at my vertex, h comma k. So I'm going to look at the h spot, and I'm going to look in the k spot. H is our hypocrite, so even though this is +1 in our vertex, it's going to be -1, comma, and the k spot is a -5. That -5 is going to go with it. All right, then we want to look at our axis of symmetry. Our axis of symmetry is x equals our x value, which is -1. And then we look at the sign before the parentheses at the very beginning to see if it's going to open up or open down. Because it's negative, this means that it's going to open down.